Alright, so this is my first video that I'm going to be uploading back on YouTube in a very long time. It's been probably almost 3 years. Last time I uploaded to YouTube, I had like just turned 18. And I've got a bunch of Call of Duty Modern Warfare, like the new beta, that was going on a while back. I've got a bunch of footage I can't use in like a normal video because the audio is just really bad. It's horribly synced. It's using adaptive FPS because I use shadow play, and it kind of sucks. So instead, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use that footage with no audio in the background to tell a few stories here and there. I've got so much footage and so many stories from back when I was in high school, and even recent stories where things have just been fucking whack, dude. So without further ado, this story is about a party I went to when I was freshly 17-ish. It was like 2 weeks, 3 weeks, somewhere around there since I turned 17. Didn't really get much of a birthday or anything. I was kind of upset. And so I was being a bit of a rebel. I was being like this rebellious, stupid kid. And so I was going to parties and things like that quite a lot. And so this one night, in the middle of like December, I called up my friend and was like, hey, you want to do anything tonight? And he was like, nah, I think I'll just stay home. There's not really much to do. And so I was like, alright, well, that's cool. And I hung up the phone and went back to watching YouTube. And then a couple hours go by and I get a call from him and I'm like, hey, what's up, man? And he tells me, he's like, dude, the J1s are throwing this party tonight. You want to go? And I'm like, maybe. Where is it? Because I figured, I'm gonna be drinking and stuff, so I didn't wanna go far. And he's like, dude, it's like a block away from your house, in the little suburb there. And I'm like, dope. All right, I'll come get you. But are you cool staying at my house tonight? Because I'm not gonna drive you home. And he's like, yeah, dude, it's chill. So I get up, I go start my car, which at the time was this like beat up little 1999 Isuzu Trooper that had like 7 misfires on 8, on the cylinders, and it ran like shit, and it couldn't really go up hills. Like, I got the car for $300. What do you want me to do? And so I go get him, and we come back and we park outside the house of this party. Which, if you don't know, that is something you should never do. Like, don't park right in front of a party. Like the house that a party's at, because the cops are going to be sitting there and they're going to watch you if it gets busted, right? So we go into this party, and it's this little suburb area with these relatively large houses, but they're not like 2 stories or anything. They're kind of like the olden day standard generic house, right? So we go into this house, and there's music blasting over these Bluetooth speakers and stuff, and it's this like classic Brazilian party because. So what we get here, they're called J1 students, and every season we get a different like country. So in the winter we get Brazilians and stuff like that. In the fall we get Nigerians. In like spring we get Asians, so we get like Japanese and Chinese and shit. And they come to here for work as J1 students. It's part of their like high school or something, whatever they do there. And so we're at this crazy Brazilian party. And for those who don't know, like, Brazilian music to us, like, Americans and shit, like, no offense, usually pretty much just sucks, right? But when you're at a Brazilian party, it's a completely different story, and you just get into it, dude. So, we're at this party with these Brazilians, and there's, like, 200 people in this little house. So we're sitting here like, holy shit, this place is packed. Like, there was a big line to the bathroom. When you were standing by the bathroom, you could hear people getting it on, so to speak, in the bedrooms, and it was like, damn. So, I help, at first, when we first got there, I help set up the big stereo they had, so that way they could stop playing music off of these, like, linked-up Bluetooth speakers around the house. And this was a pretty kick-ass stereo. It was like a real big kicker sub, and there were speakers all around the living room, and it was badass. So we get that hooked up. We're blasting music in this little house, and after I get this hooked up, and back then I was kind of into drugs. I'm not so much anymore. Like, I still smoke weed now and again, but only because it's legal and it sometimes helps me sleep, right? So back then I was really into it though. So I saw these guys smoking a joint, and I heard one of them complain about how he's running out. He's like, man, I'm running out of weed. And that was like my golden opportunity, because I didn't bring a pipe or anything with me. I forgot it at home. So I walk over, I'm like, hey, I got like a gram here if you want to smoke out, as long as I can hit it too. And he was like, dope, dude. Thanks. And so him and I and this like group of 4 other people, including us two, or not including us two, are sitting there just ripping this like little silicone pipe. And eventually I got pretty fucking high, right? And the weed was fun and all, and then the guy who had the pipe leaned over to me, and he kind of whispered into my ear and was asking, hey man, have you ever tripped before? And I'm like, no, what does that mean? And he's like, dude, you're gonna love this. And he pulls out this little baggie with like 4 little squares of paper in it that had like nothing on them. I'm like, alright, that's paper. He's like, dude, trust me, put this under your tongue and suck on it. And then when you're done, you can either swallow it, like it's just paper at that point, or you can spit it out. You'll know when it's done. And so I'm like, all right. And so I take this little piece of paper thing, and all right, he's had me suck on a piece of paper. Good joke, right? And I stick it under my tongue, and I suck on it, and 45 minutes goes by, and after about 30 minutes into it, I figured nothing was going to happen, and the piece of paper was all soggy, so I spit the piece of paper out, threw it in the trash. 45 minutes goes by, and I'm starting to see some weird things. Like, I noticed that everything that had color to it was, like, more vibrant. Like, whites and blacks look just like they normally do, but, like, brown and green and, like, anything with color was very vibrant. Like, so there was this light brown table in the middle of the kitchen. It was, like, the kitchen table. And, it was not light brown to me. It was very much a dark, vibrant brown. And we had like this like cheap disco ball that all the colors were really bright, and I'm sitting there looking around like, what the fuck is going on? And for those of you who don't know, what he had handed me was acid, also known as LSD, and so I'm sitting there, kind of freaking out, but kind of digging it, right? And so I'm kind of just enjoying it, but also like wondering what the fuck I'm on. Right? And the thing about acid is your brain still works, like you can think right, but at the same time you get really confused, right, when you're on like a standard sized dose. Now, disclaimer, don't do drugs. It's bad for you. It's not worth it. I was just a stupid kid. Let me make that clear. Rather than doing drugs, like seriously, find anything else to do. So and it gets to about an hour and a half since I'd taken this tab, and I'm kind of looking at the ceiling. You know how they have that like texture on the ceilings, that you can see. It kind of makes the walls look a little neater, I guess. Like, I'd personally prefer them smooth. So I'm looking up at the ceiling, and this texture is like moving to the right. Okay, and I'm sitting here like, that's not normal. What the fuck? And I'm starting to think that I'm like in danger, and then I remembered, oh yeah, I like sucked on this piece of paper, and that's what's causing this. Like, weed wouldn't do that. So after a while, I'd had a couple beers, and I was on this acid tab, and I was high as fuck. And so I tell my friends, like, look, dudes, I'm gonna go home. I'm tired as shit. I'm not feeling too good. Whenever you're ready, come back over to the house. And so they're like, alright, dope, man. Sorry you had to leave so soon. Stay safe. And I'm like, for sure, man. And so I get in my car and I drive really slow home, right? So I get to the intersection where I have to make a left and drive about 2 blocks down to get to my house. And I look to the right, kind of hazily, and I see a cop just sitting there in the spotlight waiting to go. And I'm like, oh, fuck. So I make the turn. And at this point, I'm like, fuck it. If I'm going to go down, I'm at least going to try to not to, right? So I speed up to the speed limit, which is 25, which for me at the time was a little scary because, I can't think right. And this cop follows me all the way back to my house. I get out of the car. I had left a soda from the 7-Eleven in there, so I brought that in. Like, I just went, kind of looking like I just went to the store. And I go in my house, and the cop leaves, and everything's fine. And so a couple hours goes by, I'm sitting on my computer watching YouTube, just zoned into it, like, whoa, and I hear my phone ring, and I pick up my phone. It's like 2% power, and it's my buddy, and he's like, "Dude, oh my god, what just happened?" And I'm like, "What do you mean, what just happened? Like, what happened?" And so he tells me, he's like, "Dude, the cops just busted the party." And I'm like, "Oh shit, really? Are you alright?" And he's like, "Yeah, dude, I walked out the back door, and I, like, buried myself in the snow." And I'm like, "God damn, we'll just call him, we'll call him John. What about John?" And he's like, "Dude, John left earlier, like 10 minutes before the cops showed up." And I was like, "Holy shit. Alright, you need me to come get you? Like, what's going on?" He's like, "Dude, no. I'm gonna walk back, and I'll meet you at the intersection." So I get on my shoes, and I throw on a hoodie because it's the middle of December, and I don't have a jacket because I'm a fucking idiot. And I walk down there, I meet him at the intersection with these, like, yeah, I don't know if people know what they are anymore, but they're called hot hands. So you shake them up, and you crunch them around, and they heat up, and you use them to warm your hands. Or you put them in your shoes or whatever, and it keeps you warm. So I had, like, one hot hand in each hand. I had one for him, and I had one in each shoe, just trying to keep warm. And so I get to him, and he's like, "Dude, we gotta get out of here. The cops are gonna leave any minute." And so we walk back to my house, right? And eventually John shows up, and we're sitting here like, "Dude, you made it." And he's like, "Yeah, that was sketch." I'm like, "What do you mean that was sketch?" He was like, "Dude, I like got almost bit by a dog, and I walked past like 3 cops, and I watched people get arrested tonight." And I'm like, "Holy fuck," right? So the next morning comes around. I couldn't sleep at all because I'm sitting here on fucking acid, and I kind of just like pick up the news because I got bored. So my dad brings in, or used to bring in, newspapers every day, like every morning. So I pick up this newspaper off the kitchen table, and I'm staring at it. And on the second page, in this little subsection, there's this just like tiny little subsection that says "Party busted, 27 arrested," and I'm here like, "Oh my god, what?" And a couple people I knew got arrested that night, and it was bad, right? So eventually my friends go home. I finally pass out, and I wake up like 12 hours later, like, what the fuck, right? So it's like 12 o'clock at night now, and I woke up to my phone ringing, and he was like, "Dude, there's a party at that same house again. You want to go?" I'm like, "I'm all right, man. I'm good. I'll go to another one next time. We'll go back to that suburb another day." And so I didn't go, and he did, and that time the party didn't get busted, but I just didn't want to chance it. So the moral of the story is, don't be an idiot. Don't go to parties. Don't get stupid drunk at parties if you're underage. Don't smoke weed if you're underage or it's illegal where you are. Don't do psychedelic mushrooms if it's illegal where you are or you're underage. Don't do illegal drugs. Just don't do it. It's not worth it. I've been there. It's not fun, right? So I hope you guys enjoyed this little story time video. I'm hoping that I didn't just like put text on the screen or something, and that I remembered that, oh yeah, I have a bunch of Modern Warfare footage I can use. So thanks once again for watching, guys. If you enjoyed this story time, I'm going to be doing these a little bit more often. I've got a holy fuck ton of stories to tell, recent and old. So if you guys enjoyed it, drop a like. If you really want to see more, you can hit the subscribe button, ding that bell, so you get every notification when I upload, because that's about all I'm going to be uploading to the channel anymore, is storytime videos. When I feel like something could be said and there's a funny story out of it, and I'm not going to go to jail for it. And by the way, the whole reason I'm telling this story is because it was 3 years ago, and the statute of limitations is up. So, to the best of my knowledge, I can't go to jail for this. But yeah, that was the time I accidentally took LSD, and smoked a lot of weed, and got stupid drunk, and was an idiot at a party, and somehow walked away unscathed. Thanks for watching. Catch you in the next one.